Good morning, everyone. This is Jaya Jha, and currently I'm working in EPAM. So today I'm going to present a session on Sitecore Content SDK that is used for XM Cloud, which is recently renewed to Sitecore AI. So first of all, I want to thanks to the user group member, mentor, and mentee, and Sitecore user group Kerala to organize this session so that we can have a good learning session throughout the day. I hope I do the justice with the content and you guys learn something from this. So let's talk about the topic and agenda today. I'm going to explain about like what Sitecore Content SDK is, why actually we needed it, because we were having lot of like JSS SDK, lot of versions were there, and then key features and capabilities of that. What is the architecture overview of that? And when we start development, what prerequisites we require if you are a beginner or you have the experience in headless, how it differs. Then we do the exact like what are the features it has and how it differs from the traditional one which we used to work till now. And then how we can integrate to the Sitecore AI. Like I will refer Sitecore AI because now it is renamed. So, but that means Sitecore XM Cloud. And then how we can start a project on that. And then we see a demo as well when we quick start that one. And later on, then we see the traditional differences between Content SDK and traditional SDK, how the difference is. And at the end, if you guys have any queries, I can answer. And then we go forwards. So let's start with our content. So when actually how this content SDK originates. So as we all work in Sitecore ecosystem, we know that from last couple of years that's XM Cloud, the Sitecore AI is in boom, right? And then there is a need came like in Sugon 2025, they have just announced it like they're going to launch a SDK which is exclusively for this Sitecore AI. And then the purpose and vision was they don't want to mix lot of things. In traditional SDK, we all evolved from the Helix to Headless and then this cloud platform. So in that era, we were using lot of other tools and techniques. When Helix came, there different patterns came, and it was an MVC, right? Now, when Headless came, their specific need came for JSS SDK, right? And now, when AI came, they thought like we should be having something which is built for that only. For that purpose, they announced this product, and then this is open source under Apache license. And initially, when I started exploring this, it was on beta release 001, like that one version. And then this is 1.2 is the latest release of that. It has officially commercialized into July 225, and it also like open for contribution from the community. As we know in Sitecore, always the community contribution is welcome so that we can explore and learn. These are like overall view like how we introduce this new SDK. Now, as I explained that why this new SDK required, already we were having the JSS SDK, and we were working with Sitecore AI with this JSS SDK as well. But there is a need like you, the product is specific to a XM Cloud or Sitecore AI. So there are a lot of dependencies from XP, XM, that platform that carried forward to the Sitecore AI, which was making the structure or the project very bulky. And the people who come from the MVC or Helix pattern and they have not worked in headless, it's very difficult to accommodate. At least few months it take to realize that shift. So for that purpose, I think this is very like focused one. It is only for Sitecode AI, the composable system. And then it has everything which requires in today's world for the AI perspective. They have included inbuilt features on that. And in this way, you can I will show you a demo where you quickly create an app and connect to your Sitecore AI and launch it. And you can add your custom features subsequently into that. But creating an app, they made it very faster for this. So I hope the features are clear. Like the need of the SDK is clear. Now, what are the core feature? Why we actually need it? What are the exact benefits as a developer we get from it? So we know that in Sitecore AI, the experience uh, platform, in that we have experience editor that is going to be removed in coming years or months, I guess. The Sitecore pages, they have enabled it fully fledged, and now there is a new interface, page builder, that is integrated for non-technical authors. They do the content authoring in that, and there are a lot of new features added. So this SDK has inbuilt support for that. We don't need to write a specific code for this so that editing gets supported. So it's by default. And then, as in Sitecore AI, we primarily work on the front end frameworks it supports. So Next.js is our main focus. So it has a lot of starter templates. Among that, Next.js is also a starter template in GitHub repo we have. We quickly clone that repo and start creating our app and work. So it's inbuilt support. And most of the features like GraphQL utilities, most of the content we fetch from GraphQL queries, and we make it dynamic, sometimes integrated GraphQL queries. So these all, they have provided inbuilt utilities where fetching content, presenting that data, dictionary, site information, it's very easy. Inbuilt utilities are there, you can use that one. And then as the nature of the framework is Next.js here, so Next.js, all the features should be supported. Then only we can get enhanced experience when while we developing the app. So in this, like Next.js supports static site generation, server side rendering. These are inbuilt supports here. So all the Next.js framework specific features which is required, it's inbuilt here, and you can just extend that classes or interfaces or that CLI commands, and you can use it. So these are the things which makes it really easy. And I think learning curve in this, you can say it's easy and cleaner. Going forward in other slides, we will see how it is. Uh, in this Sitecore AI, now it is a composable product, right? For each and everything, we have a different product. Initially, when we work on the XP platform, we used to see that for kind of personalization and all, we were using analytics also. The MongoDB analytics part was there, everything in that integrate. But now for each everything, we have separate products. That's why we call a composable ecosystem. So it has the inbuilt support for personalization and A/B testing. And the SDK is having the classes and utilities where you don't have to write a single line of code for that. If you use a basic functionality, if you have obviously some custom requirement, you have to extend those. Then multi-site support, Sitecore is renowned for multi-language and multi-sites. So it has that also in bed, and multiple environments also using that environment file you can call configure. And then multi-site and multilingual support, it's inbuilt. And this internationalization IA18 we use for the multi-locally supports, right? That is also inbuilt in it. And this slide I specifically included because on October 13, they have a new beta version of this SDK. In that, they added this feature. And going forward, I think we are going to use this app router concept. Next.js has inbuilt feature support for this app router concepts. So in our case, when we use a Sitecore AI, then we use a content structure and that routing we perform, right? Now, suppose in that app, there are different integration setups are done, and we have some nested routing concept. So that's why they introduced like this frame, this SDK should be compatible with all the latest feature of Next.js. So this app router concept recently they introduced, still it is in beta version. Maybe they release after our feedbacks. So just go and explore this one and give feedback to the community. It has the support for the server components, and now you can mix like client side, server side, all kind of components, nesting. The layouts are there in that nested routes are there. Everything will be supported with this concept. So I thought It's not lot of documents are available, but it's a good thing to explore. That's why I add. Now, any system, new system without the concept of architecture is half we understood, right? So here, that's why I added this slide to explain. With the JSS SDK, the architecture is almost similar. Only the core concept here change, which is the backbone of Sitecore AI. Like in XMC, before XMC in XP platforms, we were having the WebDB. Now in XM Cloud, that got replaced with Experience Edge. So in this architecture of JSS, that got only replaced, that the Experience Edge, and the heart of our full headless architecture is Next.js app. And rest other things you can rely, like Next.js feature, like static rendering, runtime server rendering. These are like our app basic components what we develop. So in this, heart of our project is will be our headless app. In that, from experience edge directly, that images get fetched, that is shown here, and the client browser receives the image from experiences directly. So whatever content we have in our XM cloud, we generally fetch, or we have the concept of context ID there. So here that concept is only applied, and from experience directly the content get fetched to the client browser, and from the app all our renderings are built and that we render or use based on our needs. So let's start for that, like what are the prerequisites we require when we start this working with this. So first you need a Sitecore AI instance. So definitely now we have the 45 days, the free as well. If you don't have Sandbox, you can use that one. So you need a instance. Then you need Visual Studio Code. So who all are familiar with Visual Studio? Now there is a shift, right? Visual Studio Code is our day-to-day ID, what we use. Then Node.js, like you or recommended by Sitecore, like we always use the current stable version of Node.js. And then some foundational, fundamental knowledge of new concepts like page builder, content editor already we know, and that is same, there is no change. And the component architecture concept that I explained. So little bit you have that knowledge and you're coming from a front end background, you can easily learn this CMS and then you shift into this. They already made very clean or clear for us, a person who coming from the other background, if they wanted to be in CMS they can learn easily if they have the front end. The way they made this SDK also, if like we are from a backend background and we need to give a shift to our JSS, so this SDK I feel it is more cleaner and easily we can understand the thing. For us only what they made in community. Now there is a starter kit which have this project, this Git clone. So I will show you in demo. We can clone the repo directly from here. In that repo, there are examples, project starter apps in all like Angular, Next, and they have given lot of basic components implementation already. They have separate category. Like I will show you basic Next.js Connect. In that there is no component by default, but they have given a sample things where rich text, all these basic inbuilt out of box components, they have given a sample. So you can take a reference and develop your own. And this is a CLI command which we are going to use. Here, everything now renamed to Content SDK next. So this command, the next navigate and select your app, this single command will create your app. It will ask you two questions, and after that, your app is done. And there are a lot of new file structure that once we create the app, and in going slides, I have in detail like what these file means to us. Sorry. So now, when we run that command into our CMD, I have just shown the screenshot where I've just added the command like create content SDK app @latest Next.js. In this case, already I have cloned the Git repo. but I don't want to use the basic Next.js. I want to use the whole structure what it creates. For that, I just tried out like how it comes. So I just added Next.js, and then it asked me the next question: where would you like to add your new app? The basic what we in case of headless also we use, right? I've just given my command. The important part here is how would you like to pre-render your application? So we have two options, SSG and SSR. So in case of me, just I went with SSG, but as per your requirement, you can change this to server-side rendering. And then it will install all the relevant dependency and packages. And then this your app within a few seconds, it's done. After this, like this is almost your repo is created. And after that, you need to just, the next part is now you want your content should come from Sitecore AI, right? The prerequisite earlier I said that you need a instance so that you can create a project into that and then you connect the content from there. In this case, we have, I will show you the next slide, the file structure. So basically for connecting that app now to the XM cloud, we need to prepare an environment file. For environment file, we need certain variables which is required. For that, in XM cloud, we need to navigate to deploy portal. If you have worked on that, otherwise I will show you a screenshot. So these specific variables which requires to put into our environment file, and then you are good to connect. You don't need extra anything. They have renamed from the variables name from headless JS's traditional one to new one, and they have added a prefix called next public in front of that, and they have reduced the number of variables into it and made it more easier for us. Once that screen you have seen, right, where the content SDK app got created, you will go into the file system, then this structure has created. And this is something here, few files are there, which I want to explain the highlighted ones are the important ones which came from the change. The first file you see dot cursor. So it means now it has some guidelines. You can use the cursor to develop your app and certain like if you have the API key and all, you can use this AI. And in this file, there are certain rules folder. In that rule folder, it's defined like what way and how you can create your component using the AI. The next file is .sitecore. In this, they have replaced now whenever you build your app, certain artifacts get generated. That mechanism, like under .sitecore folder, that that artifacts get generated and get here. So we'll see here we have the metadata and site.js. And then we have this environment contain that .env container example if we are using the Docker or connecting to site on that .env remote example one, like I want to connect to my XM cloud, I will use this file. And that cloud.md, here also some instruction are there if you are going to use this feature of AI and you want to use this product then. And then copilot instruction.amd. So copilot is also now we can use, right? We can give some prompts and instruction. And in our day-to-day life, which repeated works we do, we can reduce this one by using this. And at the end, llm.text. So all AI feature on the keywords we listen, right? Now in this SDK, they have included everything. So it means like we don't have to think like how AI we can use or integrate. So already the basic foundation is given. And this is the thing I like this product. Like we don't have to struggle a lot. And in that subsequent slide only, these C files are also very important file. Now we have central configuration of CLI command that is sitecore.cli.config. And that sitecore.config.ts has all the configuration files. So these are the files which I explained, like sitecore.config, CLI folder, I already explained. And the one thing which was with eslink.config. So they have this included into the latest release one, 1.2.1, so that the linting support they provide, and we can upgrade. It was 8 before, now it is 9. I have already explained that what these files are and how it is beneficial for us and what's the purpose of it. And now to connect to that, just I've shown you the dot environment dot remote example. Just we have to rename it and rename it to dot environment dot local and add the required variable from the XM Cloud instance. So this is the interface in deploy portal where it is shown that JSS 21.x onwards. Now this product like JSS 21.6 is having end of life in June 2026. It is announced already. So we have to move to Content SDK. That is for sure because another 6 or 7 months it is not going to be here. So in this already they have included this as a tab. Right now, if we are working on this, you might have seen that you are using JSS 21.6 later on. But now if you explore this one, you have to choose this Content SDKs tab. And then our project is going to be, I have already created a demo app in that, but in our system, I'm going to use this SDK and create a project. But Sitecore wise, I'm going to use this XMC demo only. And these are the variable where like next public Sitecore site name is the name in Sitecore instance, AI instance. Public default language is English, and depends on your requirement. And Sitecore Edge context ID and next public Sitecore Edge context ID. These two, like Edge context ID is the important concept in Sitecore AI. So earlier we were having the UAT, staging, production, and we handled that using some environment variable, right? But here inbuilt deploy app is there, and suppose you have multiple environments. So how you identify the content from where it is coming? To identify that one, there is a context ID for specific to each environment. For that purpose, we use. So either you use your preview or live. So this one, the same thing which I explained, we need to add that into environment file and then we go. So here, just this is a sample environment file. You can see the length of this file, the number of lines, how it got reduced. But in our case, now we are going to use only the next public default language, site name, and this context ID, and then we are done. We are going to connect to the XM Cloud instance. Now, how they are fetching the content, that is also the edge platform, right? Always we fetch the content from, so internally there, when you inspect the network tab, you will see this call, where your context ID, based on that, they are fetching your site content. And we will see in demo as well. This one I have just added like to show you like how much in yeah, it takes less time to load. So that comparison I did with JSS app and it was in seconds, but the earlier was in this is milliseconds. So it's too faster due to the unnecessary irrelevant files are reduced and only the limited ones are there. So now it's time for demo. See this one. See. So as I said that I'm going to connect with the basic Next.js app, but before that, the slide I have shown you where the Content SDK app is created, I'm going to create a new app. So for that, we first need to run a command. Already my repository is cloned. So you can clone that repo from the portal, the starter. And then creating an app, I just navigated to my clone folder. Under examples, we have several other apps, but I'm going to run this command, create a sample app just to show you how quickly it is creating an app. So it just asked me where you would like to app created. So by default, I'm giving this yes. Already the Next.js app is there. Maybe it will override. I'm going with the default options. And then all the dependencies after this command which require, and you see the app is created. Now we don't need anything, just an environment file, and we can get the content from the CMS. already in my CMS, I can show you. This is my app, the demo app I have created, and this is a rich text component I have used. So the app just now we created, same app I have in an environment file. We just need to place some environment variable. So I'm not showing that one, the screenshot I have shown. And then just we need a command call here. Instead of my Next.js, because I need to put the environment file there, I'm going to show you the basics Next.js, which is also a blank, only a custom rich text component I have added. So I will just run npm run command, which will install all this dependency, and then npm run start, and it will start. So already I have run all those. That's why it is not there. Npm run and then start. So in this, you can notice the logs when we are building up. It will show the what are your, these are like already warnings. We can ignore it because we have to configure based on our needs. And you see the time span 4.8 second compiled already, and it's just doing the linting check, and it will show you the localhost 3000 port one. And you can just open your app. And that app already, I have used a rich text inbuilt component from the example app only. They have given so many starter template. I'll show you that one. And see, now I'll just click, and this content and this app, how much time we took, right? It's very faster, and based on a requirement, now we need to create our apps. So I'll show you the Visual Studio Code structure so that you get familiar. This content is dynamic, it is not static one. I have shown you in page builder screenshot. This one. So it's a basic rich text. Now let's go through the Visual Studio Code to understand what the structure is, because we have seen in the screenshots. Now let's see. So this cursor file I have shown you, right? So this is the whole structure. It get created by that running the command when we create a app. And in this, if you worked on headless, maybe you are familiar with some of the file, but the structure is little bit changed here. So this one, as I explained, it has the cursor rules where you can see what are the rules you can define here or use or default one. And then this build time it creates, leave it that this Sitecore folder, which I said to you, like it is a build time artifacts get generated, and it has most important file. This I will talk later. This site metadata.jsn, it has all the dependencies registered because we install the Sitecore Content SDK, CLI commands, which we can use globally as well or project specific as well. And then we have a site.jsn. Basically, this file, what it does, at the runtime, you have given the context ID, right? So it fetch all the sites particular to that context ID, and it lists out here. So if you want to use later on, you can add your host name and use it. Node module, we all know npm install. When we do it, install all the node dependencies. And then this is the environment file where I have explained these variables and I added. And this co-pilot instructions file where you can use AI feature, and that ESLint for linting and LLM text. These all are new files. And suppose you wanted to, as you are aware about this structure. So when you go through once, now you heard the name, at least it will stick you in mind. It will be familiar to you. It's not very unknown to you. The most important thing comes when we create an app. Our next thing is either we need to create some components, or we need to have some custom requirement or like middleware thing, right? So each of this, like first we go with the component creation. So only from the JS's traditional one thing got changed here. Earlier, when you create a component in JS's SDK, automatically it get registered to the component builder. But here you have to manually register it because they have given you a full control which component you want to register or use. So that file is like under SRC. when you create you have a command, scaffold command for your component. In that, there is a component. If let me show the component folder. Yeah, so there is a component folder. Inside of that, I have just added a rich text one, which is the default one I copied from how to use this rich text component, right? Because this is a shift. So they have given a sample one where the you can use this interface where you can define what field you want to take from the CMS. And you can notice the references. I have used Sitecore, Content SDK, Next.js. So everything from JSS SDK to change to Content SDK. And then you, as it is a rich text field where I can configure anything, and then it is editable also. For that, I have not written anything, but it by default supported. So just that field I have used. And in this AI, I haven't done any customization. Just I fetch that context field dot text, and it is giving me that result. The important thing when I created this one, I need to register this how this Sitecore app knows that what component I need to show. So it will look for this mapping, component map.ts. So until and unless you didn't register this one, your app is will show you have in headless app. Whenever we create a JSON structure and we provide to the front end team, we see a orange color banner, right? That means till now your implementation is not done in front end. So you will see that one only until and unless it is not registered here. And this is a manual step you have to remember. So this is overall the app and the component creation. It has lot of like middleware utilities which you can extend as per your need. But robot.sitemap.ts, these are inbuilt supported. In that, if we wanted to apply some logic before performing to the user, then we can add, and there is a defined middleware class which you can extend it. So now I'm moving back to my slides. I hope you like this demo and you can try out by your own if you have the Sitecore XM Cloud instance. So environment file is already I have explained here. I have given just two. Let me show if it is bigger. So this file structure, if we are known to it now, you see this file because the next slide will show you the JSS SDK file, and you will see the difference in that. This is Content SDK environment file, and this is JSS SDK environment file. Here the variable number of variables little bit more, and this public URL, all these are absolute now. So the highlighted one which are showing, these are important at the time of JSS SDK, but now it's not that because we have changed it. In Content SDK, it's changed. So this is also done, and this is the last and the important slide. Um, Suppose you have gone through the documentation of Content SDK, and some of the document has some gap, I feel. But if you really want to understand exact difference, go to the document of upgrade guide. From that upgrade guide, I have collected all these points, and I found that I understood the core concept of Content SDK through that upgrade guide only. And from there, I just highlighted these points because when you're going to migrate, because next coming months, definitely if you're working on AI, we need to migrate to Content SDK if you're using JSS SDK, right? So that time, this chart is will help you. So the important concept was already I explained that XPXM on-premises support was there on that JSS SDK. Now in Content SDK, it's only specific to AI. And then uh, previously or component builder was there. Whenever we create a component, it get auto registered, but here we need to register into the component map.ts file. These variables were not have just this variable, they have added a next underscore public keyword. I hope this is visible, but I'm just, that's why loudly I'm saying. in the JSS, we were having the layout context properties called page props, page editing, and rendering type. Now they have replaced that into like you can use the mode. As you know, in Content SDK, by default, design library support is also there. So they are just using the page mode instead of all these. Now under the page mode, they have the variable like editing, preview, it's the design mode like that. And get server side props or get static props. These were like when we used to create the component where the static content is there or the dynamic. So now they have replaced with get component server props. And in so this two instances in JSS SDK got replaced with get component server props. So when we do migration or upgrade, we need to focus on those the references and change it. The script under script slash config folder, which used to contain plugins that JSS used to generate the multi-sites, generate at the runtime, that got replaced with this one, sitecore.config.ts file. So it has all your configuration at a central level. And now this config SC config got added newly. And then site resolvers, middleware, these all get replaced with the SC client resolver. And you have the next config. Earlier SC lib next config. These are all you things you can find into when you create a project using JSS SDK, you see the file structure and you will find the references of this. That next.config. Now it is all Next.js configs are now transformed to next.js.config.js file. But the location of the file is changed. Earlier it was under lib, now it is directly at the root level. You can find it. Earlier, we were having under the library the GraphQL client factory, dictionary, layout, all these services. These all get replaced by a single, everything got incorporated into the Sitecore client. And now, based on your it, you can extend this one. So these are the important one. While you are doing the migration, you have to find all these references and replace it and then see. So they have included everything into the upgrade guide. And if your app is not having much customization, I think it is very easy to upgrade. Now, these are some of the important CLI commands which I feel is required when you are doing first time creating an app, which I shown when I was doing the demo as well. So I'll not go through again this one. And these are some references from the community and the documentation portal which I have collected, which will help you. I think now we are into the end of the session. Thank you for your time. I hope I have not bored you guys and you guys learned something. And my key takeaway is only that the differences slide and the upgrade document. If you go through it, it's not difficult for you. Thank you. Oh, I cut the call. I missed stop.